Rome is one of the best cities in the world, but it's also one of the easiest cities in Europe to do badly. Too many people come here and make the exact same mistakes. They cram the wrong sites into the same day, waste hours in queues they could have skipped, eat in terrible restaurants because they didn't walk 2 streets further, and stay in areas that make the whole trip harder than it needs to be. And that's a shame, because when you do Rome right, there's nothing like it. I've been here many times, and I used to run a travel agency where I planned Rome trips for people. So in this video I'm giving you the version that actually works. The sites that are worth your time, the ones I wouldn't overdo, the food rules that matter, how to get around without losing your mind, where to stay, and the places most people completely miss. Let's get started with 10 of the main things to see and do in Rome, and particularly how to get the most out of your visit to these big sites. The Colosseum. Yes, everyone goes. Yes, you should too. But here's where most people get it wrong. They do the most basic possible visit, walk around the upper levels for a bit, take some photos and leave thinking, cool, I guess. That's the version I'd skip. The version I'd do is the underground tour. You go below the arena floor, you come up onto the actual gladiator level, and suddenly it stops being a ruin and starts being a story. I've done both visits and they're not even in the same league, to be honest. Sort your tickets before you arrive, especially if you want to do the fully guided tour that I recommend. Turning up without a booking is how you end up standing in the heat, watching every organized group walk straight past you. And while you're here, your Colosseum ticket also gets you into the Roman Forum right next door. And do not treat this as a quick add-on, because people massively underestimate how big the Forum is. You can see it from the road down here, and to be honest, it is a pretty good view from there. But then you get inside and it just opens up. This was the old political center of the ancient world, so give it proper time, at least a couple of hours. Now, Trevi, and this is important because the rules have changed around here. As of February 2026, getting close to the fountain, you know, the basin area down there, where you throw your coin and get your classic photo, it costs €2. So the piazza above and where I'm standing now is still free, but the guys behind me are walking down to the fountain via this little ticket line. So you need a ticket for that now. Managed hours run from 9 AM to about 10 PM most days. Mondays and Fridays they start later, I think it's around 11:30, because they clean and collect coins in the morning. After hours is still free and open down there, but do check the exact times before your trip, because these things can shift. It is Italy after all. Now, the Vatican. And the main thing you need to know is, this is not a quick stop. People think they're just popping in to see the Sistine Chapel. You're not. To get there, you walk through room after room after room of art and sculptures. It is spectacular, but if you weren't expecting to spend half your day in there, it can be quite a lot. Rule 1, book ahead. The queue without tickets is the worst I've seen anywhere in Europe, so get those skip the line tickets. Rule 2, and this is the classic first-timer mistake. Do not put the Colosseum and the Vatican on the same day. They are the two heaviest sightseeing experiences in the city. Cram them together and you won't properly enjoy either one. Spread them out across 2 days and Rome gets much better. Oh, and a quick tip for this bad boy, the St. Peter's Basilica. The free entry queue can take ages, but if you buy a specific skip the line ticket for St. Peter's, you'll be walking in within minutes. And to be honest, I feel like that's worth it, because the line gets brutal around here. One thing that makes a real difference in a city like Rome is having data on your phone, because this is the kind of place where being able to quickly check restaurant reviews, pull up a map or look up whether something is open can save you from some very average decisions. On my first trip here I didn't have data. I was tired, hungry, and I walked into the first restaurants I saw in the tourist center. The food was mediocre, the bill was too high, and I found out later that there were great places like 2 streets over. I've just been walking down there now actually. A 30-second Google search could have changed that. This video is sponsored by Saily. You download the app, pick Italy, choose your data plan and install the eSIM before you leave home. It honestly takes like 2 minutes. So when you land, you're online, no physical SIM card, no airport kiosk, no overpriced roaming. That's what I like about it, you know, there's nothing to figure out when you arrive. It just works from the second you turn your phone off airplane mode. I've been using it on this trip and it's made everything easier, to be honest. Head to saily.com/destination or download the Saily app and use my code destination at checkout for 15% off your data plan. Link and code is also in the description, so that's saily.com/destination. The Pantheon. Go, because the second you step inside and look up at that dome, you just get it. This thing has been standing here since ancient Rome and it still feels ridiculous when you see it in person. As you can see, there's a massive line over there, so you do need a time ticket now. It's cheap and it's easy, but sorted in advance. Don't assume you can just wander in whenever you come here. So, the Spanish Steps. Worth seeing, not worth planning your whole day around. Go early, not like me today, enjoy the view from the top and then move on to more interesting things. Right, so if you take one thing from this first part of the video, don't rush the big sites and don't stack them. Maybe just plan for getting to 1 or 2 per day, book in advance and give each one the time it deserves. That alone puts you ahead of most visitors, to be honest. See these ruins below street level here? This is Lago di Torre, Argentina, and this is the spot traditionally associated with the assassination of Julius Caesar. But because this is Rome, it gets better. There's a cat sanctuary in the middle of these ancient temples. About 150 cats living among 2,000-year-old ruins. Rome has a law protecting stray cats, so these guys are well looked after by volunteers. So what you got here is one of the most famous murders in world history, plus a load of stray cats. Bizarre, very Roman, very worth visiting in my opinion. Look, there's not much left of it, you know, it's a big open field these days, but this is where 250,000 Romans watched chariot racing. You know, just stand here for a minute and think about that. Nowadays they use it for example, the Rome Marathon start line, so that's quite awesome.
Around the corner we've got another famous spot in Rome. So for this video I wanted to share the Aventine keyhole view. Yep, here's a photo. And I went there just before sunset because the view would be incredible. I'd just forgotten that this is not 2010 anymore. The Aventine keyhole view is all over social media, so the line was simply too long for it to make sense. But the good news is that if this happens to you too, right next door you'll find another incredible viewpoint.
If you're like me, you don't want to stand in that massive queue. Right next to the fabulous church up here, you've got the Orange Garden, and this is where people, actual Romans, are coming to walk their dog and watch the sunset. It's quite a nice place.
Trastevere. Some Romans will tell you it's over. Too touristy, not what it used to be. And I understand the argument. I just don't really care. Because if it's your first time in Rome, there is a very good chance that walking into Trastevere in the evening, seeing the restaurants spill out onto the streets, hearing music somewhere in the background, that might be your favorite moment of the whole trip. My advice? Don't overplan it. Come for a drink, walk around, go a street or two off the busiest bits and see where the evening takes you. That's when Trastevere works best. And walk in via Ponte Sisto if you can, it's a great approach. Trastevere is also one of the best places to eat in Rome. Of course, do check the rating of the restaurants before sitting down, but the concentration of awesome spots is crazy here in Trastevere. It's not like that everywhere in Rome though, so let me share some very important food related travel tips.
Food in Rome is one of the best parts of the trip, but it's also where a lot of people get lazy. They eat at whatever's in front of them, and in Rome that is a terrible strategy. If a restaurant is right next to a major site or maybe on a main square and someone is standing outside trying to wave you in, just keep moving. Those places survive on foot traffic, not on food quality. So walk a few streets away, check reviews on your phone because you've got data, and your meal will be completely different. This catches people every time. Most restaurants in Rome close between lunch and dinner. Probably closed, shutters down, even in busy areas like Campo dei Fiori. Good luck finding a real meal between about 3 and 7 p.m. But I've got a solution for you. Pizza al taglio. You point, they cut it with scissors, weigh it, heat it up. It's fast, cheap and very Roman, and it's absolutely amazing. Rome has drinking fountains everywhere. They're called nasoni, which means big noses, I think, and I guess it's easy to see why. The water comes from the mountains. It's cold, it's clean, and it's free, so just carry a bottle and refill it as you go. In summer, this will save you. Classic Rome thing, your coffee price depends on where you drink it. Stand at the bar, cheap. Sit inside, more. Sit outside on a terrace, even more. Same coffee, different price. So do the Roman thing, walk in, order at the bar, knock it back in 30 seconds and carry on with your day. Breakfast here is quick and sweet. Cornetto and a coffee, standing up, done. And dinner is quite the opposite, nobody rushes you, the food comes when it's ready. Asking for the bill does not mean it's arriving in the next 30 seconds, that's for sure. I'm Scandinavian, so this was always very strange to me the first few times I was in Italy. But at some point you just realize that's the whole point. Stop fighting it, things here take a bit longer. If you want to eat Roman food properly, know the dishes Rome is actually famous for: carbonara, cacio e pepe, amatriciana, gricia.
Rome is a big old place, so before you go, there are a couple of things you need to know about transportation here in the Italian capital.
Most important transport tip for Rome. The center here is more walkable than you actually think. A lot of the main sites are closer together than most maps suggest. So wear comfortable shoes, expect to walk a lot and just enjoy it. Half the charm of Rome is what happens between the landmarks. When your legs are done, the metro is useful, and the metro in Rome is not as extended as you may know it from London, Paris or Berlin. I guess they would never be able to make new lines around here because they would just have to stop every 2 seconds because they found yet another important historical artifact. But as you can see from this map, it does get you all over Rome and it is super easy to use. For example, getting from the Colosseum to the Vatican by metro takes about 20 minutes. And that's good to know on a tired afternoon where the traffic is crazy, so a taxi would have taken double the amount of time. Tickets are the same across metro, buses and trams. It's one system and a single ride is 150 for 100 minutes. Day passes are 8.50 for 24 hours. You can buy paper tickets at metro stations, but the easiest option, just tap your card or phone because contactless works across the whole network now and it's just much less hassle. And it works very well across the metro, trams and buses. If you're flying into Fiumicino, the Leonardo Express is the easiest way in. It's a direct express train to Termini, which is the main train station here in Rome, and it takes about 30 minutes. You can book the ticket on your phone before you land and skip the ticket machine queues entirely. If you do want to buy a ticket physically and there's a queue, which there always seems to be, walk straight past them and just go to the staff ticket desk. Nobody ever goes there, and in there, behind the glass, there's an actual human being who can help you get a ticket. Uber also works in Rome now. It's partnered with local taxis, so the price is fixed before you go. for the airport, the official taxi rate is 55 euros to anywhere in the old center of town. And also, if you're thinking about day trips, Italy's train network is brilliant. Naples is about an hour 15, Florence under an hour and a half. It's city center to city center, no airports, no check-ins, and trains in Italy are just excellent, so think about that. Buses and trams here fill in the gaps. For example, tram 8 is handy for getting out to Trastevere, but buses can be late and packed or just not show up, so if you need to be somewhere at a specific time, don't rely on them.
And if you want to never ride a bus on your trip to Rome, staying in a central area of town is the way to go. Let's get into the next part of the video, where I'll talk about my 4 favorite areas and which ones I'd avoid. Let's start with my favorite part of the Centro Storico.
First time in Rome and you want the classic experience, stay around Parione, which is this area just west of Piazza Navona. You get the beauty and the location without the chaos of the Spanish Steps area, and some of the best food in Rome is tucked into these side streets. On this trip I'm staying at this hotel right between Parione and the Campo dei Fiori area, and honestly it's one of my new favorite hotels in Rome. I didn't even realize that they had this massive rooftop, and there are like 20 tables up here, and they've got this little phone where you can call the bar and get some drinks up here. Honestly, this is one of my new favorite hotels here in Rome, and I'd highly recommend it. The rooms are great as well. Monti is a great all-rounder. Good restaurants, a bit of personality, and you're well placed for both the Colosseum and the historic center. It's got this slightly cooler, slightly less touristy feel that I kinda like. It used to be the old slum neighborhood of Rome, and it's where Julius Caesar was born apparently, so that's a cool little fact. I'll leave a link to my favorite hotels around Monti in the description.
Trastevere is great for atmosphere and evenings. Just know that lively also means noisy. Stay here for charm, not for early nights. This is probably the best area of Rome if you're traveling with your partner, if you're traveling with a group of friends, or to be honest, if you're here to party. So I wouldn't stay in Trastevere if I were traveling to Rome with children or wanted a peaceful local atmosphere. If you want to stay somewhere a bit calmer and more residential, Prati is solid. That sounds a bit off when I also tell you that Prati is the area right next to the Vatican. But once you walk a few streets away from the Vatican and the main road leading there, you'll find loads of good restaurants, and hotel prices here in Prati are usually lower than in the city center.
Now, where would I avoid? The area right around Termini station, especially southeast of it towards Esquilino. The cheap hotels there are cheap for a reason, you know. It's not like it's super duper dangerous, it's just not a pleasant part of Rome. And it would be a bit of a shame to stay in that kind of area when there are so many nice parts of Rome.
This Rome travel guide could have been 3 hours long, but let's wrap this up with a quick round of travel tips that will hopefully help you have a fabulous trip to Rome.
First Sunday of the month, state museums and archaeological sites are free. It's a good deal, you know, but go early because everyone knows about it. If someone approaches you trying to hand you something or tie something on your wrist, keep walking, don't stop, don't engage, don't be polite about it, just walk. Pickpockets are a real issue here, especially on crowded transport and around the big sites. So front pockets, zipped bags, basic awareness, that alone saves most problems here. If you're going into churches, and you will, because some of the best things in Rome are churches, cover your shoulders and knees if you're here in the summertime. People get turned away after queuing, you know. A light scarf in your bag sorts this instantly if you're a girl. Or if you're a boy, And yes, crossing the road in Rome, I can hear it from down there, it feels chaotic at first. Use crossings, move decisively, and don't do the hesitant half-step thing. That's when it gets awkward, and that's also when it gets a bit dangerous, actually. So, be decisive. Rome is just such an incredible city, and it's one of those cities that I will keep returning to. I'll never be finished with Rome. If you've been and you've got your own tips, leave them in the comments. I like seeing what people agree with and what they do differently. And if this helped you plan your trip, subscribe for more and maybe give the video a like. Ciao, 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 ciao.